Hello and thank you for coming to the McWaters Effect. I'm your host, Matt. Today we're going to be talking about Project Blue Book. But first I need you to hit like and subscribe. Helps the channel grow. Now let's get on with the show. Now first thing I want to talk about is the case that actually initiated the founding of Project Blue Book. And that would be not Roswell. It was the Kevin Arnold sighting that got the government interested in UFOs. Now, his sighting took place in 1947. He saw 9 objects, glowing bright blue and white, flying in V formation, going up to 1,700 miles per hour in the skies of Washington, Mount Rainier. When the U.S. Air Force started to investigate it, it was called Operation Sign in 1948. Now, after that initial investigation, it resulted in the formation of Project Blue Book in 1952. The project became the longest-running U.S. government official inquiry into UFO sightings. They compiled over 12,000 reported sightings of UFOs and related events until it was dismantled in 1969. The headquarters of Project Blue Book was at Wright-Patterson's Air Force Base in Ohio. Now, the leader of Project Blue Book didn't come into effect until 1953, and the reason it came into effect then is because the CIA was responding to fears by assembling an expert panel of scientists headed by physicist H.P. Robertson of the California Institute of Technology. Now, after he left, there was 5 other leaders of the Project Blue Book. Next one was Captain Edward Ruppert. He treated the project like he was trying to find scientific proof whether or not alien vehicles existed or not. He was impartial. He was fair. The rest of them did not do that. They used it to try to squash sightings and also try to debunk sightings. One of them that was there the longest, he came in 1963, named Major Hector Quintilla. Now, if you look at this, what I have right here, it shows all the cases that are unexplained by Project Blue Book. There was 12,000 cases, and by this paper here, if you go down all the way down the bottom, which I didn't print all of them off because, I don't have that much paper, but there's 701 UFO reports. Now, if you count on the papers, there's actually 564. But they said an updated version, there's almost twice as many, 1,500. Now, when I clicked on the comprehensive catalog of 1,500 Project Blue Book UFO unknowns, when I clicked on that, this came up. Server unknown, 404 file, or directory not found. Now, I'm assuming it might be because they moved the information to something else or somewhere else, even though on this particular page when I went to it, it had no source to go to find that information. Now, I'm not trying to say that the government's trying to hide something or the government took that down for a reason. I'm just saying they didn't make it easy to find anything. Hell, when you go online and look up Project Blue Book, most of the time they're taking you either to the TV show or the movie that came out in 2020. Instead of giving you information about Project Blue Book, you have to look really hard for this stuff and look and also go to Wikipedia and stuff like that to find information about it. They made it really obscure places to find it on Google. Now, on the Robertson panel, they said they could explain 90% of the sightings as astronomical phenomenon, meteorological phenomenon, or activities by men, such as using balloons or searchlights. All right, I'll give you my opinion on that. I think the government right there, that whole project, was actually reaching pretty far when it came to blaming balloons and searchlights for some of these UFO sightings. Anyone that thinks a balloon or a searchlight is a UFO, I'm not sure where they need to go, but they do not need to be in society, and they certainly don't need to be breeding. But what was interesting about the panel's findings is they weren't declassified until 1979. And then when you look at the declassified documents, majority of them, about half the pages are redacted. You can't even see what's on them. So it just makes it look like they're covering stuff up. And the reason they redact them is they're saying it's national security. Now, most of the sightings, if they were done by civilians, they didn't take them seriously. They figured they're either on drugs or they're just seeing stuff or they're trying to create a hoax. And then, now when it came to sightings from police officers, pilots, government officials, and military personnel, they took them a whole lot more seriously, especially if they're out in planes. And not only does he see it by sight, you can also see it on radar. Now, one thing they did not take seriously at all is sightings of aircraft landing and aliens coming out. And they actually have one that they actually took somewhat seriously because it's a police officer doing a report. It happened in 1964, April 24th, in Score, New Mexico. The police officer was named Lonnie. He saw the spacecraft. It landed. It looked like he described it as looking like a football or a cigar-shaped craft. 2 alien occupants was out of it, and then they got back in it and raised up and left. Now, the reason he was headed towards them is because he was actually on a police chase after a speeder, and he saw an explosion to his left. So he decides to take off, take a look at that, because he knew that a farmer near there had a building full of dynamite they used to take out roots, like large root areas and stuff like that. And so he went to go check that out, see if his building blew up or something. Well, when he got there, he found that ship, and the 2 occupants got in there and left. So he reported it, and he was so struck by it, he assumed that the occupants he saw were actually human. He didn't get a good look at them. He just saw them jump in there and leave. So he decided to go to Air Force Base near him. At the Air Force Base, it's called Homeland Air Force Base. It's in New Mexico. He was there for 4 days to get information from them. Not only that, to investigate what kind of aircraft they might have there that might fit the description of what he saw. Well, they had nothing there. And he talked to them about it, and they didn't know anything about it. So his next idea was to write to people that were making landing crafts to go out into space. And they sent information to him, and it was 1964, they haven't gotten very far with it yet. So after that, he investigated all that. He gave all the information he had to Project Blue Book, and it went as unexplained. Okay, guys, now it's time for me to give you my opinion on Project Blue Book. I think at the beginning, it was used to trying to find scientific ways to explain what they were seeing, and couldn't explain what it was. Then it was classified as unknown. Now, later on in the project, it was used to actually tamp down fears of UFOs, and not only that, to debunk all of them. That was their plan. If you saw a UFO and you were a civilian, most of the time you're called crazy, you're shunned out of society, so on and so forth. They put you as either a conspiracy theorist or someone trying to get rich off of other people's reaction to it. Or there was also other people involved in it, like the MJ-12. Now, or they also called them the Majestic 12. Yeah, that's a whole nother video. Those guys didn't believe in this stuff. They were trying to debunk sightings, not trying to actually figure out what was actually going on. See, this project is quite a bit different than the project that was going on from 2007 to 2012 that I talked about in my last video, last Wednesday. And that video, that group was actually interested in finding out the truth. This group was actually interested in just covering up stuff. Them covering up stuff makes you more and more suspicious. It makes you disbelieve the government even more than you already did. What that last group did, it makes you actually think the government is actually trying to tell you the truth or trying to figure out, just like you are, what's going on. All right, guys, I'm done with my rant for today. Hope you enjoyed. If you didn't, I don't know what to tell you. But please hit like and subscribe. Helps the channel grow. Peace.